Interruption. You can just...
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, George Clooney is the father of twins at the age of 56. You got any advice for old dads?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Change your own diaper first.
I'm always glad to hear this kind of news because, you know, Matthew was born when I was 49. Right. And I thought I was the oldest pop out there. George Clooney, +7.
56.
If I'm par,
56.
Clooney is +7.
Congratulations to him and to his wife Amal and their babies Ella and Alexander.
That's right.
Yeah, it's great. Good for him.
He's old.
It's not like they can't afford children at an advanced stage. They'll do fine. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Predators win again. The Astros are on fire. And should Billy Donovan lead the Thunder for Ohio State? But we begin today with a couple of strategic declarations from the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are down 2-0 to the Golden State Warriors. First, LeBron James said the Cavs will not attempt to slow down the pace of the game, even though such a fast pace seems to be exactly what the Warriors want. And second, Tyronn Lue said he plans no changes to the starting lineup, so the invisible man, J.R. Smith, who has 3 points in 2 games, who has not scored in 59 minutes, will continue to start. Wilbon, is this the right strategy?
Well, Tony, one of them is, I don't care whether you bring J.R. Smith off the bench and put somebody else in the starting lineup, Darren Williams to get an extra playmaker, whatever you want to do, Iman Shumpert, fine. Korver, you could put Korver in the starting lineup. That's fine.
Right.
But the Cavaliers can't play slow. To play slow, Tony, you have to have size. If you want to go to half-court basketball, you got to have size, and you got to have guys who can post up, and the Cavaliers have neither. They have no size. Other than LeBron, Tristan Thompson is their size, and he's not an offensive player. You have to be able to get the ball in the half court and physically do something with it. That's not what the Cavaliers did. They tailored their roster for something else, and they play faster. They don't do it as well as the Warriors. I know they can't give up 132, but they can't go in there and slug it out like the old bad boy Pistons or something like that against anybody because they're not built that way.
This is interesting because I think they do have size. I think LeBron has more size than anybody on the floor. He's just the biggest guy out there, whether he's 6'8". He plays much bigger than that. Love is big. Thompson is big. They could slow it down and go inside, but I watched LeBron have a press conference today, and he was adamant that they were not going to try to slow it down. Yeah. Absolutely adamant. I think he's thinking of last year when, if you remember, they were down 2-0. They came back to Cleveland. They won a game. They felt better about themselves. Right. And I also think, and you talk about this all year long, that LeBron James and the Cavaliers watched Golden State from afar all year and decided, okay, a jump shooting team can win and we can be a jump shooting team. I'll give you one stat, though, that's very difficult for them. The Warriors, at a fast pace, when they get at least 105 possessions in a game, they're 29-1. The Cavaliers are 3-3 under similar circumstances, and I would say LeBron, I would say do the math because it's not going to work for you. It's not going to work. But Tony,
the math doesn't make any difference. Get better at what you do. You've got to get in front of some people, and you can't let Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry go off. But Tony, this is not debatable. The Cavaliers cannot play the kind of half-court basketball that you and I look at these games and say, well, slow it down and go in here and throw it to the low post.
You know what, Mike?
Guys don't even have low post skills anymore.
If they can't do that, then we have to consider that this is what is true, that with vast array of talent out there on both teams, that Golden State with Durant is better.
Yes,
they're
we
just
do,
better.
Tony.
They're a little bit better.
Tone, we have to consider it, and the Cavaliers are about 28 hours away from having to consider it themselves if they don't get this thing right.
That's right. That's right.
Tony, there's a preposterous story making the rounds today that says Vegas odds makers would make these Warriors favorites to beat the 1996 Bulls of Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Phil Jackson, and yes, Steve Kerr, not to mention Dennis Rodman. Those Bulls, remember, won 72 games and the championship, a record-breaking feat that was beyond the Warriors' grasp last June. You know where I stand on this. What about you?
I think I might favor them because I think that we have evolution in all sports and that players are bigger and faster and stronger and more versatile. And I might favor them for this one reason, because if I ran Golden State, I would put Kevin Durant on Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan he's great. We're not saying Michael Jordan isn't great, but he hasn't had to deal with somebody that much bigger who is very fast. And I think it would take Jordan a few games to figure that out. And the other thing that might make them a favorite for me is that if you look at the numbers Teams shoot threes now, more than they ever shot them before. The Warriors had 438 more made threes than the 96 Bulls. That's a lot of
Who
points
made the
to give
higher
away.
percentage? Who made the? Who
Well,
was
you gotta
more
shoot it.
efficient shooting threes?
Then you have to shoot it more, and that's why if I looked at this game from right now, I might make them the favorite. Might.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't.
I know you would.
And Michael Jordan had to play against Dennis Rodman early in his career, early in both their careers, midway through Jordan's. He had to play against a superior defensive player in Dennis Rodman, who's a little longer, and it's just simply put, one of the great all-court defenders of all time.
Yeah.
He had to play against James Worthy. He played against guys who may not be quite as long as Durant.
Yeah, 7 feet.
But, Tony,
So
here's
it.
what they don't have. The Warriors, I love the Warriors. I love to watch them. They are must-see TV. They don't have Michael Jordan.
No, I know.
They don't have the greatest player of all time. And it's something else. Something else, Tony. Scottie Pippen, who you like to make fun of, Scottie Pippen was the model that a lot of players are based on now, that they can play two ways, that they can do both superior things defensively
Kevin
and
Durant
offensively
can do that.
with the ball as point forward.
And Durant can do that.
I'm not buying this. This is what people do now when they got to make headlines.
This is what you want to do because of your love affair with Michael Jordan, and that's fine. But I will tell you this, that at the moment, now this to me presupposes that Golden State will beat Cleveland. Okay, because if they don't, we're not going to have this discussion. So let us presuppose that they will beat Cleveland. And in doing so, they will have beaten, I think, a great team with an undeniably great player in LeBron James. And if you look backwards at the teams that Michael Jordan beat, the 6 teams to win the championships, the Lakers were at the end of their run. They were champions, but at the end of their run, and they never got back there. And then you have the Trailblazers, the Sonics, the Suns, and the Jazz, who never won a championship. So my feeling is that if Golden State beats Cleveland, then you can put them in that great category.
Yeah,
and I
agree.
think you can slightly favor them over the Bulls. That's what I think.
Favor?
Yes,
favor.
A little bit. Just by a little bit.
Your memory is really playing tricks on you already,
No,
dude.
it's not. No, just by a little bit. I will, I'll give you credit. You had the hockey game right last night. Nashville beat Pittsburgh 4-1 to even the Stanley Cup final, and that is 9-2 in the 2 games in, as we like to call it, Smashville. Every home team has won. And the series now returns to Pittsburgh, where the Penguins went 9-4 against the Preds. So who you got now?
You know who I got? I got Nashville. I told you this early in the year.
You got Jordan. I understand.
You know what? Look, they beat a 3-time champion that finished with the highest point total in the world.
Chicago, of course.
Look. Here's the problem. Don't try to make fun of me in the NHL season because I pay attention and you don't. So just listen up for a second.
Well, listen up.
The Chicago Blackhawks finished with the highest point total in the Western Conference. Nashville took them out in 4 consecutive games, and the aggregate score wasn't close. So to do that, Nashville must be pretty damn good, despite being from a city that you don't care much about because it's not in the East.
You know, I actually love Nashville.
That's all this is about for you. That's all.
No, what everything is about for you, what Michael Jordan is about for you, what the Preds are about for you, is everything is the hub of the wheel for you is Chicago. Look,
I just said I'm rooting for the Preds.
I think Pittsburgh can win because Pittsburgh won this whole thing last year. Nashville never won it. Nashville never got there. It's a lovely city. You can walk down the street. All the bars have country music. It's great. They're also the 16th seed, and Pittsburgh is the 2. Another thing that I find interesting in this.
Then why are they tied with Pittsburgh? If Pittsburgh's so superior, why the hell is the series tied?
Wait. Nobody said they were so superior.
You just did.
No, I did not. I said that's not even true. I said I favored them because they had won this exact thing last year called the Stanley Cup. What is interesting to me is that Nashville fans want to get rid of their goalie after the first 2 games, and now he looks great. Now
he looks
Pittsburgh
pretty good
fans,
now.
They want to get rid of Matt Murray because he hasn't looked good. So
you know what? It's an
70%
even
of home
series.
teams
Nobody's
in the last 8 years
favorite.
won.
They got home ice.
Yeah.
They're favored slightly.
Thank you.
I'm rooting for the Preds.
And that's fine. But they're favored slightly because 70% of teams in the Stanley Cup final, home teams in the last 8 years have won. So they're favored slightly.
That's 8 years. The Stanley Cup's been around 100 years. It's been awarded. What are you talking about?
We're talking about the last 8.
I don't care about the last 8. That fits
really?
your
What do you
silly
care
model.
about? 1914?
Yes,
I like
1914.
Good.
1914, that was a good year.
Yeah, great. I don't know that the NHL was around. I was. I don't know the NHL was.
We're at the point of the baseball season where the overly zealous seam heads obsess over their projections of what will happen the rest of the way. This year, that means the Astros are on deck. Houston is incrementally hotter now than the Cubs were last year en route to their World Series victory. The Astros have won 11 in a row. They're 14 games clear of the AL West second-place teams. So, Tony, you love seam head extrapolating. You got the Stros being the favorite to win everything, the World Series even.
Right now, I would say they're the best team in baseball. I don't know that anybody could argue with that. They're the best team. Their run differential right now is plus 106. The Dodgers, I think, are second at plus 82. The Nationals are third at plus 72. So the Nationals go to Houston for 3 games in August. I would like to see that series because, you know, I root for the Nationals. It's interesting that Houston, people make a big fuss about this. Their 7, 8, 9 hitters are doing fabulously well. They're batting .285 and they're slugging .502. And that's better than a lot of 3-4-5s, but ain't better than the Nats 3-4-5s. The Nats right now with Harper and Murphy and Zimmerman, they're batting .342, they're slugging .635. How does that taste? So I like the Nats. But Houston,
I knew we'd get to the Nats.
But
Houston, I knew we'd get there.
Houston, I think, is the best now.
First of all, I don't paint by the numbers and just try to connect run differential, and that's automatic. There's something that the Cubs did that the Astros didn't do. They got to the playoffs the year before, got to the NLCS, and had some disappointment losing in straight games to the Mets. I would say the Washington Nationals fit the model because that's not just numbers. I want to know about the experiences of these players, what motivates them, the heartbreak that might motivate them come October. The Nationals have had that.
They had that.
The Stros, they had a little bit,
they had it
but not
not
as much as the Nationals.
They had it 2 years ago. I mean, I think right now you'd have to say that Houston looks better than everybody else right now. Right now.
That's all you can say that.
Now that Thad Matta has been fired, there's a very attractive opening at Ohio State. Now, that is a job Archie Miller could easily have filled coming through the state from Dayton, but Miller went to Indiana. According to a Columbus TV station, one name near the top of Ohio State's wish list is Billy Donovan. Well, man, if you were Billy Donovan, would you take this job?
No, I wouldn't take the job. I mean, I understand that Billy Donovan's in a tough Western Conference situation where you look up and you see the Warriors, and you look up and you even see San Antonio. But NBA teams that are close to a player as great as Russell Westbrook, they can take a huge leap in one offseason of draft choices and free agents and trades, and we've seen that. So no, Tony, this is a wish list. There's great college basketball jobs open every year. Just this year, Ohio State and Indiana. Yeah. So don't tell me that these jobs won't be open next year and the year after. If Billy Donovan wants to go back to college basketball, I'm not sure he even wants to do that.
It's interesting because Billy Donovan succeeded at a large state university that was football-oriented before, at Florida, where he coached, I believe, with Urban Meyer, who's now at Ohio State. I don't know what their relationship is, but Billy Donovan could rather seamlessly move into this. You and I differ on this particular thing. I don't have anywhere near the hope for Oklahoma City that you do. I told you last year, and you told me I was wrong, that Kevin Durant would leave, and he left. I believe Russell Westbrook will leave as well, and I think it's a very hard place to attract free agents. So when you're looking up at Golden State, which is still a young team, you're looking up at other places, and you're saying, how do I get players? Now, I'm not saying that he would leave for Ohio State, but if I'm Billy Donovan, I am thinking, is this the right long-term fit for me? I don't think it is. What do you think?
Tony, it doesn't have to be. He can get into the pro job if he wants. I'm just going to say this to you, and this is a projection that I'm making.
Right.
I don't think that Russell Westbrook is going anywhere. Not even to Los Angeles. Maybe the Clippers. Not the Lakers.
Well,
I know what you
that would
think
be to Los Angeles
if
he went to the Clippers. So
yeah, it would be. But I'm just saying, I don't think he's going. I think he's inclined to stay in Oklahoma City. And the question is, can they fill in around him the parts he needs to challenge Golden State? Maybe the answer is no.
I don't think so.
But Ohio State, how many national championships they won lately?
But they have won. You can win a national championship from Ohio State.
You can win. I'm just saying, lately, like that 8-year sample you had earlier that you were living and dying with?
No, but would you take Billy Donovan as a coach and think you could win it? Because he's won twice.
Of course I would.
He's won twice.
But if I'm Billy Donovan, am I going there?
Coming up, what does LeBron's NBA future look like?
Bright, I guess. Were we hasty to contemplate Bryce Harper joining the Cubbies?
I don't know about we. You were.
Well, I didn't
you loved
anything.
It. Oh, you loved it.
Peter
you
Gammons concluded
about it.
I reacted
to Peter Gammons. Told you.
You call Peter Gammons a liar?
Pardon the Interruption is presented by Guinness Blonde American Lager. Here's to a more refreshing summer. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour. Presented by Guinness Blonde American Lager. Part of Happy Hour.
It is time to fill in some blanks in What's the Word. Let's get the first one from the producer over the loudspeaker.
LeBron's NBA future is looking blank right now.
It's looking volatile, regardless of what Paul Pierce says. LeBron James is the best basketball player in the world. And if they win games 3 and 4, then much of what I'm going to say now is going to be meaningless. But if they were to lose this series to Golden State at 32, I think LeBron has 3 or 4 seasons left of being the best player in basketball. He has moved before. I could see him moving now. I could see him going to Los Angeles with Paul George and Russell Westbrook, and that's called volatility, Holmes.
Tony, I think that LeBron's NBA future is looking Rushmorean. I think all we're talking about now is where LeBron winds up. How many championships he gets? Can he get more? I mean, obviously, he could still get one more this year. But I would have him on Mount Rushmore with Russell, Jordan, and Magic. And with apologies to Kobe, who would just sort of be waiting if they add a 5th figure on Mount Rushmore. But that's all we're talking about. LeBron's place in history, how high up the ladder is he in the all-time list?
Next.
It's blank that Peter Gammons now says Bryce Harper is more likely to sign with the Yankees than the Cubs.
It's Wilbon jamming, and it makes me laugh because you howled like a banshee yesterday at the possibility that Bryce Harper is going to go to the Cubs. You know, right? And you just started screaming about the whole thing, and now it turns out it's essentially a hoax. Bryce Harper is better than Rizzo, and he's better than Bryant, and he may end up with the Yankees or he may end up with the Nats, but he's not going with the Cubs. So you and Schwarbs can console yourselves in the elevator of your luxury apartment.
You know what it is? It's clubby. You know, because Scott Boras probably got to him and said, hey, wait a minute, Peter. Or maybe Theo even. I mean, this goes back to Boston and the Red Sox. Gammons is a Boston guy. And, of course, it involves the Yankees, I-95, all of the establishment people who think that the damn baseball season exists for 2 teams, the Yanks and the Sox, and you can throw in this network. If Harper ever goes, if he sniffs, if he visits the Cubs, if I see him on Rush Street, if I see him at Gibson's, I'm going to call and make fun of you.
Kiss Schwarbs. And by the way, Gammons told it to Rich Eisen. He said, wait, I'm being misconstrued here.
That's
last one. It's blank that the Cavaliers locker room reportedly smelled like marijuana after Game 2.
It's inconclusive. A couple of writers were in the locker room and they said they smelled weed there.
Wise and Windhorst.
But
Mike Wise and Brian
Windhorst. Here's what you don't know. Did the players use it? Did the team personnel use it? Did someone from Golden State blow it in there to make it look like somebody else used it? In a state where marijuana, I believe, is legal at this point. I mean, you could have used it. Adam Silver, if he were alive, he could have used it. Nobody knows.
You could have used it.
I don't know. You don't know. It's inconclusive.
It's inclusive. I was in the building. And it's a true story, Tony. I am walking around to sort of get ready to do post-game, and I'm walking around the arena, so I'm nowhere near either of the locker rooms. And I said out loud to somebody who's walking with me, smells like marijuana. Smells like somebody's getting high in here. That couldn't happen.
How would you know? I thought you
happen.
used. I thought you weren't
I would certainly trust. I would trust Wise's.
How do you know? How do you know? You just sniffed it? What do you
I've been
like?
at concerts.
Marijuana
I know what it
sniffing
smells
dog?
like.
Really?
Huh?
That's it.
What are you talking about?
It's blank. So let's take one last break. Still to come. Should the Colts be concerned about Andrew Luck's recovery?
And Rob Gronkowski says he's 100%, but should the Patriots protect him?
I mean, what if they weren't smoking it? What if they were eating it? Like,
it smelled like weed, dude. You're not listening.
We've been brewing beer since the 1700s. So it's with over 250 years of wisdom, we remind you to enjoy responsibly.
You ever feel like you're spinning? Like you're stuck in the same place in life? Just going round and round and round? Yeah, man. Been there.
No, actually spinning.
Oh, we can fix that by...
Interruption is presented by Guinness Blonde American Lager. Here's to a more refreshing summer. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
happy time, people. Happy 27th birthday, Anthony Rendon. The Washington Nationals third baseman has been on a hitting tear lately. Since April 30th, the day Rendon hit 3 out, he has 11 home runs, 31 RBI, and he's batted .345. Last night in a 4-2 win over the Dodgers in L.A., Rendon had 2 hits and a homer. Go Nats.
Let's just fast forward. Who you want in the NLCS? Who you want?
I just want the Nats to win finally. They never win.
Who you want? Who you want to beat?
I don't know. A not so happy anniversary, Tyronn Lue. On this day 16 years ago, in overtime in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, Allen Iverson hit a step-back jumper over Lou and then slowly stepped over his fallen defender on the way back up court. Their fortunes have reversed. Lou is now the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's got one ring in his pocket with the Cavs, and he has a chance for a second.
We knew about Allen Iverson's toughness. What most people missed until now was Ty Lue's toughness. To play in that league that long at that size, you got to be tough, and he was and is.
Happy trails to this Orlando Caliste throw. The Giants rookie outfielder settled under this fly ball to left and came up throwing, trying to nail a Brewers runner at the plate. The throw was just a little high and wide, however, and the run scored, and then a second run was awarded when the ball became wedged in the backstop padding.
Man, that throw, that's like the Little League throw when it's in the parking lot and you're looking under the Chevy, the station wagon to get it back when I was a kid. Woo.
A couple of corrections. J.R. Smith has not scored in 95 minutes, not 59 minutes, and there was no NHL in 1914. The league was founded in 1917. Quick to the big finish. Andrew Luck has not started throwing a football after his shoulder surgery in January. Cause for concern?
The cause for concern is that sorry team around him more than whatever's going on with his arm. Gronk says he's 100% with no restrictions. Your thoughts?
He'll probably get hurt. He always does. But when he's healthy, he is a great player. The Philly Inquirer reports that Markelle Fultz will only work out for the Celtics. Does that make sense?
No, suppose the Celtics takes Josh Jackson. No, it doesn't make sense. Aaron Judge has the most All-Star votes in the AL. You surprised?
No, he's an MVP candidate, and he's in New York. I mean, he gets more publicity than any young player in the game at the moment. Last one, your Cubs have won 4 in a row. Is this the big move?
It's early June. I'm not talking about the big move or the pace of some team in Houston because they're 40-something and 14. Stop it. It's early June. Enjoy baseball.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the podcast on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts. Shout out in the Golden State to Rick Dumas, Greg Horner, and Malcolm Johnson. Thank you.
Free golf for Wilbon.